What's going on, Libra? How are you doing? Hope you're doing super well. This is the Autistic Mystic, and this is going to be your reading for the month of June 2025. So in this reading, Libra, we're going to take a look at your overall general energy, some things you do not see coming, and also get some advice from your angels and spirit guides for you regarding the month of June. So before we begin this reading, as always, I do want to take a moment to let you know that you are very welcome here in this space with me as we go through this reading, and I really do appreciate you in advance, Libra, for taking the time to check this reading out. Now, if this general reading does happen to resonate with you, definitely smash that like button, subscribe down below if you have not already for future updates. I would also really appreciate that over here big time. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this reading and see what is coming your way for the month of June 2025. As always, I would like to thank the angels, the interdimensional beings, and the spirit guides who are overseeing this act of divination for the sign of Libra. Hold on. We got all scrambled up here, Libra. Wow. It looks like there's a difficult situation, Libra, that you're going through here, that you're going to be going through in June, that you're going to really have to rise above. I feel in some cases it is, it's kind of spiritual bypassing to basically try to be in your heart and take the higher view and be transcendental about things and try to tap into that spiritual immunity. But I feel like if you're listening to this video right now, you're going to need that in some sort of way. This may be the result of some sort of foolish action taken by someone that really wreaks havoc on you or someone else. This may also be the past karma of a foolish action that you have done. Nevertheless, it doesn't look like it is an easy month. The thing that you need to rely on is divine protection in this month, because a lot of you do have that even if you can't see it. A quote that's coming into my mind, Libra, is sometimes you don't realize how divinely protected that you are when things don't work out. So what I want to tell you this month is that if there's some sort of thing that you've been doing on the side, or there's some sort of thing that you really wanted to work out, could have even been something that you really felt excited about, or that still feel excited about at this moment, and it doesn't work out, it's the universe protecting you from something you didn't know about. I really feel that. So there's a lot of challenges coming your way in the month of June, a lot. But at the end of the day, it's going to make you better, is what I'll say. So let's go ahead and get into this. So the first two energies before we get into the tarot, the energy that you need more of here is immunity and transcendence. So these are kind of both cards that deal with lofty spiritual things. Now, the one thing to realize is this: for most of you, this too shall pass. And I feel like the last reading I did, besides the all signs reading, was similar like vibe. So I'm coming back again, and I'm delivering like, don't, the bearer of bad news. It feels like I'm with Libra recently, but the card that you need is immunity. All right, and so on some level, you have to maintain faith that you're not as vulnerable as you seem at this time. You're only as vulnerable as the level that you will steep to. You're only as vulnerable as the level that you will steep to. So there is going to be an energy here of immunity that you're going to really need when it comes to the basic law of attraction. Go back to the basics here of what you put out is what you get back. If some of you are involved in some sort of secret operation, this may be the time to reel it back, or this may be the time to realize that you didn't know like what was going on. Now, for some of you, there's maybe to understand that there's been a secret operation against you. Now, why this is happening, I don't fully know. And what I'm telling you is that you need to question everything at this time. You also need to be grateful, potentially, for some things that don't work out, and understanding how that is essentially your divine protection, even though in the moment it doesn't seem like that. It's a similar message that I got, last reading months ago, so I don't know. So transcendence here is what you need as well. To transcend something is to rise to another plane, I blast people into lower dimensions sometimes. If they really come from me, I blast them into a lower dimension. How I do that, I showed you basically how I do it to a certain degree, but there may be this certain feeling of being blasted into lower dimension because you're meant to get out of it type of thing. And there's some sort of thing about transcending a dimension. Okay, so Max Planck's physics shows there's at least 12 dimensions. Some people say there's 13 dimensions. You are being based on some sort of scheme against you that you reacted to, or that went along with, or thought it was funny or something. It's like you're being sent into this lower dimension. Now, the way out of this is what I'm trying to tell you, okay, is that you need to, and I understand it's not easy to listen to when I'm in this fragment, but basically, you don't know as much. The world is changing so fast that any plan that you had about a month ago, chop cooey. Let it, I'm not saying fully let it go, but what I'm saying is you need to rise above this situation. Don't stoop to someone's level. Don't do something like that. Now, the other energy that you need is actually financial freedom and gratitude. Financial freedom and gratitude. So be grateful for what you do have. Do you have a roof over your head? Do you have food? You're rich. Okay? Be grateful for what you do have. Be very conscious that right now the gap for all of us, I mean, it is insane. If I were to plug all of you into my consciousness and you were to live out, you would think I'm a robot. You would think that this is a fake simulation, which it is. But what I'm telling you is that right now, basically, see, that's what happens. I lose a good train of thought. But what something that I was gonna say with this financial freedom and gratitude, Libra, is essentially that there's something going on right now that I feel is calling you to get back to basics with your finances or something like that. Especially if you're involved. Some of you may be in real legal financial issue trouble, or this may be someone that you know, kind of. And I really had something brilliant to say, and then my ego sucked me into a lower dimension for a second. So that's the thing where with financial freedom and gratitude here, I really feel like it's being grateful for what you have, transcending the need to endlessly have more, right, in some sort of way. Because here's the thing as well. All right. there may be something foolish that many of you are going to be offered to do in order to get out of the situation you're in. Because right now, let me tell you, I'm not even going to say it is. Everything is being rewritten. Everything is being changed right now in the system. Everything. There really is no set as thing as we think. So what I'm telling you is that you need to be very conscious of that. You need to not take that to a certain level that gets you in more trouble later, is what I would say. There could be some sort of foolish new beginning that is going to set you back in some sort of way. So let's just get into the tarot. What I'm doing now is coping, and I'm looping, and I'm trying to get the thought form to come back to me. That was a channeled message that I got in my ego, and so it went away. So this is just, maybe some kinks getting out of the first couple reads back, to tarot. Anyway, your challenge is the Seven of Swords for the month of June. The Seven of Swords, not your challenge, your opportunity. Your challenge, let me just show you, is the Fool. And your opportunity is the Seven of Swords. Now, keep in mind that the energy that you need more of is immunity, transcendence, and gratitude. So, on the one hand, the definition that's coming to mind is that there's someone that is stealing swords from a certain camp so that they can't be used against them. So sometimes in a certain situation, there's some sort of piece of information or thoughts that you need to kind of take on so that they can't be used against you in some sort of way. Some sort of belief system you need to potentially gain information about so that they can't be used against you in a negative way. On the one hand, your opportunity with the Seven of Swords is to realize that there could be some sort of fool that is basically, or there could have been some sort of foolish action that some of you need to own up to for taking. Not all of you, but maybe for some of you this is a crosswatch. So if it hits you hard, it hits you hard. If it doesn't hit you hard, it's probably about I'm telling you about someone else in your life. So you'll know how you feel, right? But I feel either there's some sort of foolish action that you've taken that now it's the time to you're doomed, you're damned. If you do, you're damned. If you don't, it's legally screwed. But then again, it is the Wild West now. And so there's all these options. But at the same time, there's this energy of some sort of foolish person that you may want to just give it up. Or there may be a situation that you have to let go of and you feel it's not right. And you feel like, how is this fool going to achieve victory over me in this situation? And the universe is saying, it's not worth it. The universe is saying, he who poses as a fool is not a fool. The universe is saying, be careful. And I mean that because I don't know what this is about. We're going to have to clarify, but it does seem like legal problems, and it just seems just like a mess, and it feels like we're on the brink of a war. So there's retaliation in the air, and in your overall general energy, you have the Nine of Swords, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Justice card in reverse. So obviously, these are themes having to do with offers relating to potential sleepless nights, trying to think your way out of a situation that is awful in some sort of way. Now, please keep in mind, Libra, for a lot of you, this is going to be related to situations in your life. You are listening to this for a reason. It may not involve you, but there's some sort of reason why you're listening to it. Others of you, it may directly apply to you, where the Nine of Swords, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Justice card in reverse. That seems like, to me, there could be some sort of offer in order to restore justice that maybe, you're being offered to do something foolish. Maybe you want to do it. Maybe you don't want to do it. There's a risk involved either way. I feel like the universe is saying it's kind of going to be difficult no matter what choice you make in this situation. And a certain part of me is not just trying to tell you to spiritually bypass the situation and sing Kumbaya as if that's how you're going to get out of it. But to a certain perspective, I do think that might actually be releasing energy in another way, because there could be some sort of crappy legal situation that you find yourself in if you act unconsciously, if you think that the universe doesn't see, because the universe sees everything. The universe sees everything. You think this thing is the only thing recording me? Do you think our phones are the only thing listening to us? The universe has been recording since the beginning of time. That's why a piece of content edited 4 different ways can tell 4 different stories, because now you have an AI orb popping up, getting whatever information they want, taking it away. But guess what? The universe is still recording omnipotently beyond that. Now, it is within that and within us as well at this point. So what I'm trying to say is there is no escaping it, but there is angles, there is cheaters, there is liars. And that kind of seems like, do you want to be that or not? Now, there may also be a situation that you are not viewing yourself as that, but in the grand scheme of things, you may be. And I'm not saying all of you, I'm not saying most of you, I'm not. But what I'm saying is maybe this is a situation that you have somehow ended up in the crossfire of. I know this is not an enjoyable reading, but this is what I got. So this is going to get all the... No, it's not going to get dislikes. In what you don't see coming, though, I feel like it gets better. You have the 10 of Wands, the Chariot, and also the 3 of Wands here. So this is where that transcendence and that immunity comes in. In what you don't see coming, you're much more divinely protected than you realize to overcome this burden, whatever this burdensome situation is. And you also have the 3 of Wands, which is about, kind of optimism into the future, seeing beyond the immediate. I do feel like you're being called to be a strategist with this 7 of Swords. There's some sort of strategic move that you have to do, or that you're being presented to do in your opportunity, but you have to do it within the confines of allowing yourself to raise up to a higher dimension rather than being down-aired into a lower dimension, because a lot of you have been down-aired into a lower dimension and you don't even realize it right now. So, and that pisses you off, well, then you're going to get into 2D. You don't want to go into 2D. You're already in, you don't want to go into 1D, because then you had doodle bop. Noi min yoi. You don't want that. Trust me, you don't want that. So what I'm trying to say is that in your advice, well, first of all, in what you don't see coming, it's not as bad as you think. It's not as bad as I'm making it out to be. But I'm trying to prepare you for everything. I don't even know what to do with this. I mean, your advice from Spirit is the Page of Swords, 2 of Swords, and the 7 of Cups. I mean, is that like, this is a moment probably where it's like, the universe, give me tarot cards, fix my life. This is deeper than tarot, and so the universe is saying in your advice, there is a crucial piece of missing information perhaps that listen. There is a big piece of information that you're missing. For some of you, the reason why you're in the situation that you're in is because the piece of information that you're missing would destroy your conception of reality. You can sit here and say, I'm mean for saying that, but there's some things that have to be kept not in your brain, or else you wouldn't have the same homeostasis to keep going about your reality. So look, Tim Dillon can go on CNN and act like he is the next media machine because he has all the answers. The truth is, there's a piece of information that you're missing, that everyone's missing, that you need to allow options to open in your brain to understand why you're in the situation that you're in. And I'm not, if this doesn't resonate with you, maybe this resonates as an energy for someone that you're around. At the same time, I think there's a big piece of information that you're missing, that you're not being able to see. And your challenge is a fresh new start, to look at things from a new perspective. Because the truth is, folks, is that AI is not really doing anything new. AI is trying to tell us that we've been in a virtual hologram the whole time. But if you were to understand the details of that virtual hologram and certain things that happen, that that may be considered insubstantial because it is virtual. It is not virtual, it is physical. Am I physical? Yes. Court closed. So what I'm trying to tell you is the reason why you're in the position that you're in, and you know who you are listening to me now. You do. You're in this position because you're missing a huge piece of information. Huge. So transcend, enjoy the money that you have, enjoy the gratitude that you have. Because if you don't, you're just going to end up schizophrenic. No, I'm joking. Look, I am a diagnostic astrologer. I will challenge anyone. Have me on your podcast. I will rip your chart in half. I will, if I were to go on Joe Rogan's podcast and I were to look at his chart, if he knows the exact time that he was born, and I were to break it down in front of him, he would not be able to sidestep me. It wouldn't happen. But you can easily sidestep without the details. So I don't know if this is me venting. Thank you for holding space for me when you're going through the hardest time in your life. I so appreciate that. Why not have a double whammy of negative energy? Because it's not negative energy, because it's being transmuted. Now, the reason why, okay, here's the thing. Sometimes a Zen master would have to slap, there's certain Zen masters that are known to slap their students awake. I am not in any way slapping you, but I am energetically kind of slapping you to realize that I think that there is a crucial piece of information that you're missing that is causing you to attribute a meaning to the situation that you're in that will cause endless pain and suffering for yourself and those around you. And if you simply were to understand that the meaning that you give to situations are inherently neutral, that doesn't mean that things didn't happen before you or in front of you. So time is not even real. Everything is happening now. So what I'm saying is that if you let go of the meaning that is in the lower dimensional landscape and you elevate, then that's the thing that's going to help this. But it may not be so pretty in the physical dimension. You are divinely protected if you can listen to what I'm saying, though. Do I even want to clarify this reading? I think I do want to clarify this reading. Let's go ahead and clarify. See, I'm coping by laughing, right? So I understand. Let's clarify why the Seven of Swords is in your opportunity. Wheel of Fortune. Nine of Swords. Take your ability to spiritual integrate out of a nightmarish situation. There is a victory potentially on the horizon for you, Libra, that may it may have to do with unfinished business here, but it's running right into that Justice card in reverse. So it's interesting that you have the Seven of Swords clarified by the Nine of Swords taking away, and it's funny, it's like this is the order of the reading, and it had to double. It had to double. So your opportunity is to take two swords out of the Nine of Swords and walk into your fortune. But what I'm telling you is, in this case, it may be like you have to relinquish control. There is a whole level of dimension above you at any time you're in any particular dimension in a physical body. So, listen, this is one of the most confusing, just absolutely ego-driven.
Tell the brat to keep her mouth closed. Fuck around and get tossed up by the fucking outlaws. Before I leave, make sure everybody heard.
With that being said, I'm going to conclude this reading. I hope you have a great June. Bye.